everyone to our call here, our webinar, our wrap up to the incredible year that we've had here. We still got a few more days to go, right up until Monday, with an incredible incentive that's going on. Our IRP, International Recognition Program, in terms of qualifying for rank and getting yourself qualified at the next rank. That's still happening and going on over the next 48 hours. And the day after that, up until Monday. But gang, first of all, this is a very, very, very exciting time. As I have said before with NHT, but particularly right now more than ever before, there's a lot that we're going to be sharing with you over the course of this call. But Joe and I are extremely excited about what's happening here with NHT. And as Joe had shared with you just a few minutes ago, we've got people from all over, really, the world of our universe, our world, our planet, on this call, on this webinar right now. And as we know, it's, as you all know, it's being taped. So all of you will be able to tie into this and share with everyone the information that we've got. And quite simply, it's just going to be a wrap and review on 2018, and then what we have in front of us on the horizon in 2019. Joe and I are both going to share a little bit of that with you. But Joe, we've got, wow, as you were sharing with everyone just on the outset of the call just a few minutes ago, North America, we've got Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Kazakhstan, Russia, we've got the UK, Scotland, England. We've got Scandinavia on this call. We did a great Latin American call yesterday with Peru, Mexico, and a lot of other countries and markets in South America that were on the call like we do today. We've got a lot of our Latin family, Latin friends, and the Latin community on this call as well today. But also, and for that, Joe, with the markets that we're going to be going into, I know we've got India on this call here as well. We've got a lot of the Far East. South Korea is on this call. And gang, we can continue to go on. We're in over 50 markets and counting, and that's officially. So it's just incredible every time we reach out. And Joe and I have been doing this a long time. We've been with all of you since your first day in this business. But Joe and I have been here since the very first day of NHT's business, which was back in the spring of 2001. And if there was such a thing as BC and AD, well, we were BC. We were before natural health trends, before NHT Global started back in 2001. A number of years before that, we had been involved in the industry. I have been since 1988. And Joe, since, well, I guess you can share with everyone when you joined, when you got involved just a few years after myself, and what we saw in those early days of this industry, but most importantly, the early days of NHT in terms of vision. What makes a company work long-term? What makes certainly an opportunity as an entrepreneur work long-term? And those things that you and I had looked at back in 2001, with our inner circle of partners, all of that vision, those dreams that we had, have really crystallized over the last 18 years. But Joey, we have not scratched the surface of what we can do. And gang, this is a lot of what we want to talk to you about as far as going forward in 2019, never forgetting where we came from, where you came from, and especially what we have in our hands. So Joe and I, first of all, really want to thank all of the leadership that we have around the world, in all of our countries, all of our markets, with all of our friends. You're not just business partners, you become dear friends, and you really are family, and we are a family. And it has been said before that, long-term success at its core is long-term relationships. And for so many of you that are tying into this call right now, you know who I'm talking to. I'm not going to mention, Joe and I talked about this prior to our call. Who do we edify? There's just so many people that we can edify. We decided we're not going to say one name because we knew we'd leave out some names here. We'd leave some people out, and we don't want to hurt or compromise anyone from that standpoint. But you know who you are. There's people on this webinar, on this call. Joe and I go back 25 years with. I go back nearly 30 years with, even before Joe. But when you look at our success our success and our company's success, but even with, and taking a step forward, this industry success, the companies that have come before us, that have been around for 25 years, 35 years, 45 and 50 years, at its core are these relationships that you have with your inner circle in terms of leadership, your people that you're working with. But again, it's that leadership. And Joe and I take great pride in that. So we've got corporate relationships here, but most importantly, the leadership of our markets. And again, you know who I'm talking to. In all of our countries, from Eastern Europe to Western Europe to all of the countries and markets that I've just shared, don't need to repeat that. But Joe and I thank you. We really do, from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for all of your support and what you've done for your countries, your teams, and your organizations. And we reach out to NHT as well, from the corporate staff to the medical team that we've got, scientific advisory board that we've got, that has helped us to bring us to who we are today and to the conclusion of 2018. But gang, it is incredible what we have in front of us. And if you knew what Joe and I do know and what we see and where our company is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years, you would not sleep. You know what we've accomplished in 2018 in terms of the road shows. So many of you, just about all of you, have been part of these road shows that we've had throughout Eastern Europe, Western Europe, South America, Russia, Kazakhstan, everywhere. And all of those road shows and events that we had have been absolutely incredible. We've had wonderful incentives and promotions where people have hit new ranks that, Joe and I are so excited for in terms of what people have been able to accomplish with their goals, with their aspirations, but in hitting the new ranks. So we're excited for all of you. We've had a wonderful year with that, but we can never, ever forget where we come from as an opportunity. And, Joe, and you and I have been talking about this over the years. We've talked about this with our leadership. It doesn't matter where you are around the world, but from an opportunity standpoint, I don't know of a greater opportunity for the average person, and I mean average person, someone who maybe not be dealing from a position of strength or coming from, say, an affluent market or an affluent family, or coming from a lot of resources or money or education. Maybe they don't have a strong business background or a sales background, but take a look at what we have here. And I really believe the greatest thing that we're able to provide as an opportunity is freedom. And that's freedom from independence, owning your own business, but freedom of disease, freedom of so much that you have, and freedom just having that financial freedom, that independence, having your own business. There's so much value that you have in terms of freedom. We have that in terms of this opportunity. But with our opportunity, 80%, it's been said that in North America, and it now looks like these numbers are coming in from South America, but these are stats that have come through in the last, just in the last few months. Over 80% of the women that are earning over $100,000 a year, and over 80% of our millionaires in North America, Europe, and in Latin America, they're coming from the direct sales industry, the industry that we're involved in today. Over 80% of our global ambassadors that we have in NHT are women. Over 80%. And you know that 80% of them got there in less than 5 years? And gang, don't ever forget, we are in an industry that is now becoming a $250 billion industry by the end of this year. So we're certainly in the right industry, certainly with the right opportunity, where the average person can come in here and create freedom, freedom for their family, freedom for themselves, freedom for so much. And we can never, ever forget, again, what we have in our hands in terms of opportunity. But what do we have with NHT? And this is something, Joe, you and I have discussed over the years, is the leverage, being able to leverage from this incredible credibility and opportunity that we have with NHT, the muscle, the resources, the doctors, the research and development, the training, the system, the experience and the leadership that NHT has. Never forget that we've been around for nearly 20 years as a company, publicly traded, doing over $2 billion in sales. We're in over 50 countries with Nobel Prize winning research products with full transparency as a Fortune 100 company. Gang, this is something you cannot take for granted. When I got involved in this industry over 30 years ago, that was something that I understood, is that I could not take this opportunity for granted. Don't ever take for granted what we have here, what you're surrounded with. When you take a look at the rest of this industry, most companies in our industry are private. Only a handful are public. And only a handful out of the ones that are a handful that are public have the kind of story that we have. Don't ever, ever, ever take that for granted. So you've got over 60 years in terms of support with Joe and I, full-time experience in this industry. I got involved in the industry back in 1988. Joey, back in, I guess for you, it was 1992, and you'll share a little bit more of what you saw in those early days, similar to what we see today in terms of vision. And what do we see in 2019? So, gang, just quite quickly, I want to share with you what we see in 2019. Joe's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that you will need to do in going forward. But again, remember the long term. Our business, our opportunity is based on really two things. One, certainly the long term, but the little things that you need to do every day, those little steps that you need to take every day in terms of your MO, your method of operation, your daily method of operation. Very, very important. But this is a stable, long-term business and opportunity that ultimately, eventually, you can pass down to your children, you can pass down to your grandchildren's grandchildren. This is something that you can create in terms of legacy that can be passed down for generations to come. I'll guarantee you just a few things here, but boy, are they important. In 2019, I guarantee you, we are going to have, and we're going to be in new countries. NHT is about to introduce and launch and open new countries and new markets for your teams in 2019. Number two, I guarantee you, we're going to have new tools to build your business. And these are going to be tools that you could use and leverage from that no one else has in the industry. We've always prided ourselves in this in terms of technology, cutting edge tools and technology that we can use. Artificial intelligence, AI, just to throw that out. You'll be seeing new tools that will help advance and double and triple your business in 2019. I guarantee you also, we're going to have new products. There will be new product launches that we're going to have in 2019. Incredible products, cutting edge products. They're going to change your lives, enhance lives. I guarantee you we'll have that. We're also going to have, I can guarantee this, new incentives and new promotions that we've never had before. Look at this current incentive and promotion, Joe. I know you'll talk a little bit more about that as well later on the call to close out the call. The current incentive and promotion that we've got, which is absolutely incredible, ties into who we are as a publicly traded company. But incredible incentives and promotions that we have not introduced before, we will have in 2019. We will have also, I guarantee you, roadshows in our existing markets. We'll have events in our existing markets and in our new markets. So our new countries, our new markets that we're going to be talking about very, very shortly and announcing here officially very, very shortly. There will be events and roadshows in those markets to support your business. I also will guarantee you that we're going to have new rank qualifiers, people hitting new ranks this year. Last year, like this current year, 2018, and closing it out, we've had multiple people hitting new ranks, doubling and tripling their volume, their business, and their income. That is going to happen again because of the accelerated pace that we're on right now in 2019. I also will guarantee you this. we're going to have new global ambassadors in 2019. New rank 9, new global ambassadors. Guaranteed we'll have new ones in 2019. The only thing I cannot guarantee is who. Just don't know who. So what do we do? What do you do in 2019? Well, two of my heroes that I have as an entrepreneur are Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, that are outside of our industry, even though Warren Buffett may not be a network marketer, but he's certainly a networker, and has bought into one of the top direct sales network marketing companies from an investment standpoint. And I've got so much respect for Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in history, if not the greatest investor in history. And Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, these are two good friends that were asked a question a number of years ago. What was the key to their success? They were asked the same question. They both gave the same answer, and they didn't know that they were each getting asked the same question, and they didn't know they gave the same answer, but they did. The key to their success came down to one word, and that was focus. When Joe and I go back to our early days in this industry, and when we launched this company back in 2001, Joe and I only had one product. We had one website that didn't work. We had one brochure that wasn't even color. It was black and white. We had no guarantees of anything that I just shared with you. What Joe and I had was a dream, was a vision, and a commitment to making this thing happen. And we believed. And we believed one day we would be where we are today. And we're excited. We're tickled. Our families are. Our friends are. Our inner circle is. The group that we committed to are as well. But that same group and their groups, teams, and their organizations, gang, what we're going to do in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years will obliterate everything that Joe and I have done together over the last 18. And it comes down to one thing: focus. And that focus is three things. Number one, know what you want. You have to be crystal clear on what you want. You have to know what you want. And that is your goal, that's your dream, that's your vision, all of that. Know what you want. Be very, very clear in that. The second thing is take action. Take action on what you want. I've always said thoughts will determine what you want. Action will determine what you get. So number two is action. And number three, don't ever, ever, ever quit or give up. Joe and I, those are the three things that we have focused on since day one. You today, going forward in 2019, know what you want. What rank do you want to hit in 2019? When do you want to hit it? Know exactly, be crystal clear, HD, 4K, clear on what you want. Number two, go to work. Do what you have to. Most people know what to do, they just don't do what they know. So do what you have to. And for most of you, you're on this call, you're entrepreneurs, and most of you are part-time. So it's not the time, it's what you put into the time. For most of you, you're 5, 10, 15 hours a week building your NHT business. You know, you're full-time in your job, but you're part-time on your dream. And your dream, what is that? Be crystal clear on that. But be ready to go to work. Number three, don't ever, ever, ever again quit or give up. Joe and I have been given every chance, every reason to bail. Every excuse, every possible challenge, obstruction, obstacle that you can think of. Everyone, you bring it up. Joe and I have experienced it in the last 18 years, but we did not quit. We did not bail. We did not give up. We believed, and we believed in the long term. Biggest thing is we believe in you, and that's why we never did quit or give up. We believed in our dream, our vision, where we were going, and especially the team and the inner circle of group that we were with at that time, and all of those challenges that we've gone through since 2001. But gang, NHT has never been stronger than it is right now. In terms of what we've accomplished, Joe and I did not have in 2001 what we have right now. You have so much more right now in terms of resources, strength, muscle, credibility, history, all of it. It's all here. It's up to you. And those three things that I just shared with you in terms of focus, what do you want? Take action, and don't you ever give up on your dream. So Joey, with that, I know you've got lots to share with everyone of some things that they can do and what they can tie into in terms of their method of operation, but other things that we've got that are happening in 2019. So with that, my friend, over to you to close out our call and webinar today, buddy.
Hey, Dano, I think you're a little excited, aren't you?
What's that, Joe?
I said, I think you're a little excited, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, I'm very, very, very excited here, Joey.
You know, it's a very epic time. I was just thinking about this. You know, just in the last 90 days, the company's announced, we've shared this a few times, the company's announced several new countries launching. So here's a company that is now, we're moving into our 18th year in January. We're now closing in on 50 countries. Originally, our dream was to go into every corner of the world, every town, city, province, state, country, continent, country in the world. And now we're launching into, what's it, 6 new markets. You know, India, one of the largest, the second largest country in the world in terms of population, and Indonesia, and Thailand, and Vietnam, along with Bolivia and Colombia. So that is epic. You know, I think a lot of times we take this for granted, but this is very epic. I don't know too many companies that have done that in the history of network marketing, is putting their resources to open this many countries at one time. Correct?
Joe, I just was off mute. Yes, absolutely,
Yes.
my friend.
Yes. And it just goes into your message that a lot of times, you know, we're involved in a company, in a business model, and we take things for granted. And when we look at what we have, it's kind of like a long-term marriage. You know, you've been married with Robin, what, now 25 plus years. And Margaret and I just recently celebrated our 30th. And, you know, we're going on a cruise in a couple of weeks. You know, that long-term mentality, long-term thinking, that commitment, you know, sometimes you look at it and you say, well, maybe the grass is greener the other side, but you still have to mow the grass, as you say. You still have to do the work. And it puts things in perspective, what we have here as a company. And I was listening to a webinar from a gentleman actually here in Canada that got started in a company that was 19 years old back in 2002. And now he's earning millions and is one of the top money income earners in that company. And he was telling, he was sharing on the webinar that most of his peers in the industry told him that it couldn't be done anymore. You know, the company's too old. Everyone knows the company. You know, all those kind of excuses. And he went out and just hit it, just exploded, just created so much momentum in a company that, you know, at that time was only basically in North America, didn't have the resources that NHT had. So, so that really delves into, it's a great segue into what I'm going to be sharing with everyone and how to have your best year ever. And I may go a little deep, ladies and gentlemen, but I hope you take some notes. I hope you watch this webinar over again. And I'm going to take you through my history of network marketing and my career and how I made these breakthroughs. And a lot of times it's very difficult, very, very difficult to eloquently share with people how you did it. The industry is very simple. We do 5 things. We use the product. So we have to become our best customer. we share the product, we share the business, we personally develop. So we got to increase our skill sets. The amount of money that we make in business, in life, will be based on your conscious level, the skill set development that you have. And the fifth thing that you do is you need to teach people those four things. Dan, a lot of times people make this business too complicated, but it is, those five things are really the areas that we all have to focus on to have our best year ever in 2019. So, when I was in 2001, when we started NHT Global, one of the questions I asked myself at that time, it was around this time of year, and I asked myself this question: Joe, how can you do this faster, better, quicker with working less? Okay, up until that time, my success in the industry all had to do with I wanted it more than anybody else. I worked harder than anybody else. I was all in than anybody else. But around that time, I started thinking, how can I get past that struggle part and where everything just flows, where I just attract things faster, better, quicker. And it's amazing when you ask the right questions in life, the universe will respond. The universe will respond to me. And in the summer of 2001, we were going through so many challenges in NHT. We just closed down Canada because the product had to be reclassified. And I live in Canada. Dan lives in Canada. So think about the challenges that we're having in 2001, where our home country, we can't even do business in. So at that moment, after I asked that question, a couple weeks later, one of the members in our team had passed on a series of tapes by Bob Proctor, Born Rich. And it's amazing, up until that time, I'm 8 years in the industry, and I had never heard of Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor lives in Toronto, who is one of the all-time self-help authors of all time, public speakers of all time, incredible man, now in his mid-80s. And I use those Born Rich tapes. I listened to those Born Rich tapes in my Sony Walkman. And this was only 17 years ago. I listened to that every single day for the next 2 years. I could do that Born Rich seminar with my eyes closed. And what happened is I started recognizing, up until that time, I was such a self-help junkie. You should see my library of books. And I recognized up in that time, I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to. I was reading, I was feeding my mind every day, but it was like I was going to one book, to the other book, to the next book, and I felt I wasn't growing. And that's when I started focusing on Born Rich, on a few books only, and I read it over and over and over again. I listened to that series of tapes over and over and over again. By the way, you can go on Steam Team under the personal development link and download the Born Rich ebook. Incredible book. And it's amazing, Dan, those next 2 or 3 years, and you saw the momentum that we had, really set me up for success in NHT. The answer was very clear to me, and I was able to attract faster, better, quicker. And the next thing I started to do is I started recognizing a lot of my beliefs that I had at the time. The beliefs that I had were not serving me any longer. And just think about it. The two biggest areas in our life that creates the most emotions are our beliefs about money and our beliefs about relationships. And the relationships is the relationship with God or your creator, the relationship that you have with your spouse, your kids, your friends, and the most important one is the relationship that you have with yourself. And so these beliefs, as we have all come from our programming. They've been programmed into us through our parents, through our environment, through life-changing, altering situations. These are not beliefs that we said, okay, let's let me think about believing in this right now. These all been programmed into us. So when I started asking myself that, the next question is, what beliefs do not serve me any longer? And I started looking into money. And I had a lot of beliefs, and we all do, that have been programmed into us that do not serve us, that actually hold us back from the success that we want with regards to money. And recently, Dan, I was watching the movie Titanic again, and it was shocking to me, watching it, I may have watched it maybe the fourth time, that every single rich person in that movie, was really an idiot, arrogant, bad person. It did not shine the light of people who had money. And just think about it, that goes into our consciousness. And a lot of us don't realize that stuff is implanted into our subconscious, which creates our thoughts, which creates our habits and actions, which creates our results. So if you want to change your life, you want to get to that next level, you need to really sit down and start writing down, what beliefs do not serve me any longer? What beliefs that may be holding you back? And this is actually really good exercise, because you start to write it down on paper, because your beliefs that have been programmed into you create your thoughts create your actions and habits, and your action and habits create your results. So let me walk you through some of the beliefs that I had earlier on. As a successful person, I thought that successful people, this is a belief that I had to work 24/7, had to pay the price. So this is something that was programmed into me. Many of the earlier leaders that I looked up to in this industry, they'd go up on stage and say, you have to pay the price for success. And as a father, as a husband, as a family man, I said to myself, I don't want my family to pay the price for my success. I don't want to be looking back 30 years from now, at that time, and say, yeah, I've got everything I want in life, but I missed all those years. I didn't want that, because I had so many people I knew in the 50s, 60s, and 70s at that time that were successful. That was one of their major regrets, because they bought into the belief that they had to pay the price for success. So that's when I thought, how can I do this where I don't pay the price, where my family doesn't pay the price for my success? This is when at that time, I got Born Rich tapes. I started looking into manifestation, how we can manifest things faster, better, quicker, how I can talk to 10 people and recruit 8 instead of 1. I started manifesting success faster. I was still all in, but I changed that belief, which changed my thoughts, which created these habits and actions, which got me the results. So it's real important, this area. So we all have come to a belief that thoughts become things. Science is proving this. You hear about my webinars, you go into any self-help book, all the way back to the Bible, and it says thoughts become things. Science now, quantum physics, quantum science, is proving that thoughts become things. And the research in that area just blows you away in the last 10, 15 years. And if you want to learn more about that part, just message me, and I can send out a quick audio on quantum science. And when you watch that, when you listen to that, it'll blow you away. The thoughts do become things. The challenge is how do you change your thoughts? It's so difficult. It's so difficult to control your thoughts, especially if you've been in this world 40, 50, 60 years, or even 20, 30 years, because all those thoughts are created by your beliefs about yourself, beliefs about what you can do, beliefs about God, beliefs about money, and where money comes from and how to get to money and how to have long-term success. This is why you see a lot of people with money. I see it in network marketing all the time. They get to the top in their company and they're broke. Their beliefs about money. They sabotage their success. You see it all the time where people get money and money disappears from them. And it's because of their beliefs around money. This is hard work, but I guarantee you, you start to delve into this area. It's scary too, because your beliefs are everything about you. And it's scary. But if you want to change 2019, you got to look at some of the beliefs and say, does this serve me any longer? And your relationships and your money are the ones that causes the biggest challenge in the world. So moving forward, think about this. You believe something. You believe, let's say, for example, you believe that money doesn't grow on trees. I believe money grows on trees. The metaphor is just perfect. Money loves speed. And, the law of cause and effect, what we sow is what we reap. And all these great universal principles. So you believe in a thought, in a belief. The thinker side of yourself thinks this, and there's a part of yourself called the prover that will show you things that reinforces that belief, because that's your world. So for example, you and I have different beliefs based on our background. We're in a corner and we witness a car accident. We witness a car accident. You have a different story than mine. Just because of the way that we see things. And the way that we see things are all based on our beliefs. I had my niece's husband over the other day, and he's in the security business, and he's been subpoenaed to court because he puts in cameras in buildings. This is what he's done for years. So the police, there was a murder in the area of the two buildings that he put these cameras on. And he's now being subpoenaed to court because he helped, despite the footage, he helped the police find a different angle so they can see the face of the murderer. So that's the vision, okay? They were looking at the same thing, but he was able to show them a different angle. And this is how life works. So if you have a belief that, okay, for example, if your belief is, I'm not going to share my money. Okay, so one of the beliefs that I got a great analogy for this, a great thing that I've done is I'm pretty handy with my hands. I can do a lot of things, but my time is very valuable. So even before I didn't have the money, I started thinking, I don't like doing this. I don't enjoy painting the house. I don't enjoy just to save some money. And I said to myself that I need to circulate my money. I need to start paying people for things that I don't like doing because I'm spending time with. Even though I can't afford it at the time, I'm going to still pay them to do the work. So what happens now is I started realizing I'm circulating my money. I'm circulating the money despite not having it at the time. And that money always came back to me in tenfold. I could actually see it the next 6 months of what happened. So I started developing the belief. Instead of keeping the money and saving it, I started circulating it, saving my time, and that money always came back to me tenfold. It's not the way that it was programmed into me and how my parents programmed with regards to money. And I saw a significant difference in my prosperity and abundance. And I'll tell you a story back in 2000, which I've shared many times. My first trip outside of Canada and the United States in business was to Mexico. I went to a city called Merida, Mexico, which is in the Yucatan Peninsula. 1996, my first trip outside of Canada and the United States. And I lived among the people. I rented an apartment. It was right beside a Catholic church. I was helping the people down there build the business. And I went to a cafe right by the church. It was across the street from the flat I was staying in. I'm sitting and I was surrounded by all kinds of people from Europe, Canada, and the United States that were tourists. And they were enjoying the coffee. It was a beautiful day. It was in April 1996. And there's this little girl, 2-year-old little girl, which was the same age as my daughter at the time. And she was with her baby brother, 6-month-old baby. And she was going to table to table, asking for money. And she'd pull out her hand. Her head was never made eye contact, asking for money. Every single table, I couldn't believe it. Every single person and every single table completely ignored this child. Completely ignored the child. My first thought was, wow, how can these people ignore a 2-year-old, these beautiful human beings? How can they ignore it? Not even looking her in her eyes, not even paying attention to her. And I can feel her rejection. So she went from table to table by table. By the time she got to my table, I was weeping, because I could see, I visualized my daughter doing that and being totally ignored. Totally ignored. And she got to my table, and without even think about it, I went into my pocket and I gave her money. And immediately she grabbed the money and she ran. She ran. And I followed her with my eyes, and she stopped. And she turned around and looked me right in the eyes. By this time, she realized she had a lot of money in her hands. And she looked into my eyes, and I looked into her eyes. It was like the world was standing still. And I could feel her gratitude, but I could also feel her sorrow, because even at 2 years old, she knew what she was doing was not natural, begging for money. And after that, she could feel, I was still weeping, and she turned the corner, she ran and turned the corner, and I didn't see her again. About 3 or 4 minutes, I composed myself. I realized I gave her all my cash that I had for my trip into Mexico. And you can think in 1996 in Mexico, it's hard to believe that it was very difficult to use a credit card. Not many places used a credit card. If you used a credit card, it would take an hour. I can remember that then I was at a restaurant. It took an hour for them to get my credit card approved, and they didn't allow me to leave. And it was hard to get. There was ATMs did not work with the Canadian card. It was very difficult to get cash. So it was another challenge I had to have in that trip. But when I came back that month, it was my biggest month that I ever had in business in terms of income. It was just like an explosion that went to a 5-figure check at that time. And that was incredible. That was incredible. And that taught me a lesson. It changed my beliefs. Instead of saving your money and keeping your money, it was the law of circulation, passing it forward. With my heart, it created a new belief that I can give money away and prosperity and abundance will come my way. Not even thinking about it, because you're giving it with your heart. That was a great example of how your beliefs it didn't serve me, and changed that belief, which created new thoughts, which created these habits and actions, which created the results. So today, I would recommend in the next 3 or 4 days, go over those beliefs, your beliefs about your creator, your beliefs about your relationships, the beliefs about money. Start writing them down, and you'll see it on paper. Wow, if I change that little belief, and expand that, the prover side of you now, it's going to create new thoughts. The prover side of you will start to put things in place for you that will show you these visions that you're on the right track. You'll start to see world much differently. And this is why Dan and I have shared for years, when you start to travel, it's going to change your beliefs about people in different markets. It's the greatest personal development program because it's changing your beliefs. It's changing your world, which will change your vision, which will change your results. So moving on, I can go on for several hours on that topic, but it's critical to get yourself to the next level. So a lot of you, I believe, and this is natural in the world, that we have to struggle to become a global ambassador, to get to 6 figures a year in income, or in 7 figures a year in income. That's a belief that's holding you back. You don't have to struggle. Everything can move, flow with great momentum. Money will come to you really quickly when you stay focused and you put the action. I had the opportunity in Croatia. It's amazing. My great friend, our great leader in Europe, Garth Wright, and Garth and I spent time in Croatia at our a European trip promotion. It was an incredible time. And Garth went with his family, stayed an extra week. He rented out a flat, and I got the opportunity to play with his kids. If you know me, I love playing with kids. At Christmas time, I'm with the kids. Everyone else is with the adults. I'm always playing with the kids. And the reason why I love playing with kids is because they have a belief. They have no worries in the world. They're pure energy. They don't have sin. They're just pure heart. And I was playing with Garth's 3 little kids and what he's done for those kids, and how he's changed as a human being just because of those kids, which I'm sure have changed a lot of the beliefs about kids, which has changed his thoughts, which creates the results. And that's a great, and I can see the change in Garth, and I can see how those kids have actually made him a better business person, has increased his desire. This is a great example. Sometimes we're forced to change the beliefs in certain areas, which creates these thoughts, again, which creates these actions and the results. So I applaud you, Garth, for your growth. So here are some of the things. I'm going to take the next 5 minutes to share with you the little things in life. Dan Catto is the best at this. He calls it the attention to detail. And there are some detailed things in our business that I've done for years that make a huge difference in duplication and having abundance and prosperity in your business. So when you get your distributors started in the business, when you enroll your distributor, your new distributor in the business, here's the reality. That person doesn't believe fully yet in NH2 Global, doesn't believe fully in themselves. So their belief levels are very challenging at best. So the most excited that a distributor is going to have in most cases is going to be that first day, because they haven't been rejected yet. There's no fear of rejection yet. There's no disappointment yet. So this is where you need to create a sense of urgency, a sense of urgency in getting into their warm market. Every time I start someone new in the business, that very first day, I don't wait till they get their products. I don't wait till they get trained. I don't wait till they go and send me their goals. I'm going to go and ask them, who do you know is successful? Who do you know is entrepreneurial? Who do you know is open-minded? Who do you know is involved in self-help? Who do you know has 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs, always wanting to make more money and grow and develop? Let's make a list of 10 people. I'm going to show you right now how to invite them to take a look at the business and to take a look at the product. You're going to do that the very first day they sign up, they enroll in the business. Don't wait till they get the product, because that is going to be the default mode for them. Oh, let me just get trained they'll do everything possible not to talk to someone because they don't know enough yet. And if they do, if they're really excited and they go and share the business with people, they're going to do a poor job in doing it. Their invitation skills are not there yet. So you need to go and immediately get into their warm market. My first year in NH2 Global, I talked to over 900 people. Dan Catto, probably the same. And a lot of people ask me, how did you know all those people? How did you reach out to all those people? I was averaging 3 people a day. It's because when I enrolled someone in the business, their warm market became my warm market. Because we didn't have much then, it was much, sometimes when you have a lot, people start to think, I got to learn more about the product, got to do this and that. Because we didn't have anything back then. We just went, and it was easier to get in action mode for some people. So immediately that first day, I'm getting on with their top people and inviting them, helping that new distributor. I'm telling them what to say, and I'm inviting them to take a look at the business right away. Because our goal with that new distributor is to enroll 2 individuals in their first week. If you can do that in their first week to 2 weeks, now and you duplicate that with those 2 people, now you have a sense of urgency in your business. You're teaching them the right thing. Second thing I would recommend is you get those people involved in personal development. You got to feed their mind. Today, it's even more important because of the information that we have available to us on the internet. So many distractions, so many new companies launching. The last 3 or 4 years, you've seen the cryptocurrency craze, and that's all fallen apart because people have got sidetracked in understanding the basics of what makes a company great. People are always chasing money, looking for easy money. So you got to feed their mind. Real important. Get them on getting the science of getting rich. So important. And you walk them through after they read that, have them read it over and over again. You want to feed their mind. If you're not doing that, the distractions, the environment they have, the disappointment will overcome them. So in that first month, it's critical to start helping them feed their mind. You gotta make this as 100% important, just as important as them ordering product to get started. Don't do that. You're not anal in this area. You're going to have a difficult time in duplicating your organization. Today, it's even more important than ever was. If you ask Dan Catto one quick question, what was the biggest impact in his life, in his attitude? And he'll tell you in this top 2 was reading the right books, feeding his mind. And I remember in 1993 when I got started, the Super Saturday that I was invited to, June 23rd, 1993, is where I had one of those born-again Christian moments. I knew within a minute that this industry was for me because I fell in love with my dream. And Dan Catto that day said in his training, stated emphatically that he stopped listening to Michael Jackson and Madonna. I thought that was funny. He was listening to Madonna. And he started listening to Jim Rohn, the Bob Proctors, Zig Ziglars, the classics. And at that time, he started feeding his mind every single day. He turned his car into a university. And it changed his life, changed his attitude, started changing his beliefs, which changes his thoughts to thoughts on what was possible. Those thoughts created his actions. He was working towards his goal. And I can remember, and even at that time, he had in his front planner his dream home because he wanted to spend the winters somewhere in a warm spot. And he's created that. He's been down in Florida spending the winters in Miami area because of that single exposure over and over again. So it's critical. Get people on the science of getting rich. Why that book? Because it's the laws of the universe. Wallace Wattles You can also get them started and born rich. Get them feeding their mind so you can have them change their beliefs. Recently, I enrolled a preacher into the business. Been a pastor, has been in the pastoring for 35 years. 35 years. First thing I gave him was the science of getting rich. You know what he told me? Because for the first 35 years, he's been struggling in supporting his family. It's a very difficult, field that he's in. Dan Catto's dad was a pastor, was a preacher, very famous one here in Canada, and it was a very difficult to create prosperity and abundance. And at that age, now in his early 60s, he wanted to spend the time in helping his family with abundance because that's where they were struggling the most. Gave him that book to read. You can get it on Steam Team, the ebook version. And he said, Joe, I wish I read this 30 years ago. My church would have been more successful. Just think about that. Plug your people into the NHT system and culture. Don't leave them alone. It's important that they plug into, the NHT Global community page on Facebook. Real important. The different chats on WhatsApp and the groups that you have put together. You need to help communicate. The challenge today is that emailing used to be, it shows you how technology is moving fast. Emailing is no longer the preferred method of communication. Many people don't even read their emails. You got to encourage them to read the emails, get on to these groups, especially NHT Global community page, where you're getting info from Dan and I and the company, on the latest promotions, on the latest information. Get yourself tapped in. The challenge in Facebook is now, because of the algorithm change, if you're part of that group or you haven't been part of the group, add yourself because it's a private group, so you need to have your sponsor add yourself to that group, or you can friend me on Facebook and then I can help you add to that group. But you need to, in the group settings, you need to write down that not highlights, but have the feed come to you all the time. So that way you're not just getting once in a while, but you need to spend the time once a day at least getting in there. And you need to get your people to get in there at least once a day. Have them come all in. Make sure you plug your people in the culture of NHT. If you're not, you're going to have a hard time helping them grow and develop. Real important as part of the business. And the other thing that I've done, again, it goes back to the beliefs. Your distributor does not believe in the business yet. Your distributor does not believe in that they can accomplish anything yet. Your distributor does not believe in the products yet, for the most part. So it's real important in the first month that you introduce them to other successful distributors, successful customers that have results. Build their belief in that area because that will lock them in long term. First 30 days is critical. I'm always introducing new people to the local area leaders, people they can relate to. I'm feeding them great videos for them to watch because I know that first 30 days is critical. Just don't leave them alone. And you duplicate those 4 little things that I've just shared with you with new people, you're going to have incredible duplication in your organization. It's easy to do and it's easy not to do. And the last one, a lot of people ask me, Joe, how do you get to global ambassador? You need to do 600,000 on one side, 300,000 the other, and you need to do that in 2 consecutive months or 2 out of the 3 quarters in an NHT quarter. How you know the NHT quarter, if it's the last Sunday of every quarter and every month is the last Sunday of the month. So for example, this month, December 30th is the last Sunday of the month. So that's when our quarter and the year ends and the month ends is tomorrow at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 midnight Central Standard Time. So what you need to do is, where, for example, that is 7 a.m. in Europe. That is right now 11:30 a.m. Monday morning in India, for example. That is that is 2 p.m. in the afternoon in China, for example. So Monday the 31st in the Asian markets. So that's when the end of the year ends and the end of the month ends. So it's always the last Sunday of every month. So how do you get to global ambassador? The easiest way to get to global ambassador, I need you to write this down, is get everyone that you enroll and duplicate this through your organization. Get them thinking about getting to the first rank, not just the early bonus program, but the first rank, which is the associate level, where you need to do 2,500 on one side, 5,000 the other. Implant that in their subconscious mind and in their conscious mind. They need to get to that first rank. Get everyone planning getting to that first rank. Just think about it. If everyone does that and you're focused on that first rank, everyone else moves up in rank. And all you need, just work out the volume. You need 900,000 to get to global ambassador, 7,500 to get to associate level. So I'm just using my calculator right now. That is 120 associate rank distributors. So when you think about it this way, I just need 120 associates in my organization. It's much easier to believe that you can do that than get to 900,000 in volume, especially for a new person to get started. If you just get everyone focused and getting to that first rank and setting up a system to do that, you're going to move up in rank very quickly and you eventually get to global ambassador. First rank, first rank, first rank. Everyone I get started, I'm talking about getting them to their first rank the very first day, and it starts with getting their first 2 people in the business and duplicating that, creating that sense of urgency. And the last thing I'm going to end with is the 90-day blitz. You know, the reason why I believe where NHT's had the success the last 17, 18 years, it was because Dan and I did a 1-year blitz. A 1-year blitz. Where that first year in NHT, we put so much action. We were working from 9 in the morning to 2, 3, 4 at night in the early mornings, almost every single day. We put so much action, so much blitzing in the markets. It started to go viral globally, and we had to do all the pioneering. You know, it wasn't like the company said, let's go open up Hong Kong or Taiwan or Australia, New Zealand, or whatever. We did that all ourselves. The distributors today, the infrastructure is all in place. So we have many groups around the globe that are doing a 90-day blitz. So how that works, I was just talking to Cindy Stowa, one of our upcoming leaders in Sweden, and Karina, who's sidelined to her, and they're doing a 90-day blitz together with their teams. So how that works is you ask everyone on your team if they want to participate in the 90-day blitz. So what that means is that you need to set some goals on activity goals and reading goals. And it's all about action-oriented items. So every week, you get together with your group. If they're local, you can get together locally, or you get on, if they're outside the markets, you get on the phone or on Skype or Zoom, whatever. And every week, every single person who has committed to that 90-day blitz, every single week, they're on that Sunday call. And every day, all those people need to go through what they did that week, that they reached their goal. And it's a group coming together and helping everyone achieve those activity goals. You imagine you have 10 people on a 90-day blitz, that have committed to a 90-day blitz. And let's say the goal is to have every single one do 10 people a week. 10 people a week for 90 days. Just do those figures. You have hundreds and hundreds of people that will be exposed to the NHD business and product through that 90-day blitz. Just think about what your business is going to look like after those 90 days. It'll set you up for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. And then in my case, one blitz set us up for life in NHD Global. Just that one blitz. We've done many other blitzes since then, but that one blitz created the momentum that you see in NHD Global today. So Dan, any last minute thoughts on your end?
Hey, Joey, just taking you off a note here. Pretty excited about what you were sharing with everyone. I guess, Joe, there's you've said a lot here, and obviously we can continue to share with everyone what has happened, the great story, which so many of us know. I guess it comes down to just one simple message is that, and I said it earlier on today's call, and I've said it for some time, and I've seen it for so many years in this industry with industry leaders that have had their business grow. It's flattened out and it hasn't grown anymore, or we've had leaders just do it once with a particular company and they could never ever do it again, or their business is stalled and they just haven't been able to take it to the next level. I know this, and they know this, is just about everyone knows what to do. They just don't do what they know. And for all of us, the greatest reason why you'll have the best year in 2019 is not because of your upline. It won't be because of your downline or your team. It won't be because of your sideline. It won't be because of corporate. It won't be because of the doctors and all of it. The biggest reason you're going to have the greatest year you've ever had in 2019 is because of you, is the mirror. And just what you were saying, Joe, taking action on what you want and really knowing, and this is what I was saying just in wrapping up my part of the call, was really be very, very clear on what you want and then just going out and taking action on it. And don't quit, don't stop, don't give up on your goal or your dream. Don't ever, ever, ever let anyone ever steal your dream. So you did a great job, my friend. I've known you a long, long time. I don't know of anyone who has grown in this world, in this industry, more than yourself, but it's because you've been an incredible student. But you stop being a leader when you stop being a student. And wherever you are out there on this call, wherever you are in this business, wherever you are in your world, in your life, you have a great, great opportunity and situation in front of you. And it's entirely up to you in what you do and how you take advantage of this incredible, incredible opportunity. So, gang, a great 2018. 2019 is going to be historic. We've got all of this in front of us, all of this in front of you, and it's up to you to make that happen. So, Joey, thanks for everything that you do, and gang, thank you for everything that you've done. It's going to be a fun, fun year, 2019. Thanks so much again to all of you, and we'll be seeing you in 2019. Joey, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. God bless to all of you. Merry, happy New Year. Let's make 2019 your best year ever. And Dan and I always say that we're always getting started, and that's a belief that we built many years ago. We don't rest on our laurels. We don't rest on our successes. We're getting started again here in 2019, and we're committed to all of you to achieve your dreams and your goals. This is what drives us every single day, and we've got a vehicle that you can call a home in NHD Global. Great people, great dreams equals great success. Good night, everyone. Thanks for jumping on. Good afternoon. And please share this with your teams. This will go up on Steam Team in the next 48 hours. Enjoy your New Year's, and let's all dream together for greatness, and let's pray all together that NHD achieves many more ambassadors in 2019 and beyond. Take care, everyone.
Ciao, ciao, everybody.